Today we have Representative Howard with House File 1971. Representative Howard, would you like to move that motion?
Yes, Madam Chair. I move that House File 1971 be recommended to pass and be referred to the Committee on Taxes.
Representative Howard, to your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, you may remember this bill. It was authored by Representative Tabke 2 years ago. It is the Affordable Tax Credit bill. It's something that we've talked about over the last few sessions. It has bipartisan support, I think in part because of the way that it addresses our affordable housing crisis in a meaningful way. And at the outset, I just want to remind committee members of something we know all too well, that Minnesota faces an affordable housing crisis with pressures and needs all across the spectrum of housing. And what I would submit to this committee is that unless we're willing to think outside of the box, be innovative, try new things, and make new kinds of investments, we will never meet this moment. And we're in a moment right now that we must seize to address our affordable housing crisis so that Minnesotans and our state really can succeed into the future. And that's what I believe House File 1971 offers for us, an innovative new tool that encourages local businesses and neighbors to invest in their community by creating housing opportunities. Minnesota needs sources of predictable and sustainable funding for the development of affordable housing, and this tax credit leverages participation from the private market, grows the number of stakeholders invested and engaged in affordable housing, and builds support for local development. The impact of this credit will be to stimulate affordable home production, especially for the lowest income Minnesotans, and target public dollars where the market is not working. Importantly, this target is flexible and can support home ownership, multifamily development, and deeper affordability. This model is not new, although it would be new for Minnesota. Many other states have employed this successfully, this approach, and our bill is modeled after a North Dakota law that's been in place since 2011 that has leveraged roughly $5 for every $1 invested, creating more than 2,500 homes in North Dakota. In exchange for contributions to a specific development or the general loan pool, participating taxpayers would receive a 90-cent per dollar credit against their state tax liability, providing resources, flexible resources to meet Minnesota's housing needs all across the state. I'll turn it over to my testifier soon, but just wanted to again close by reflecting on this bill's place in terms of our overall efforts this session to address housing. Of course, this committee's been very focused on funding through the Minnesota Housing Finance Agency and other avenues, but we really need to look at the whole spectrum of state government, including how our tax code operates. I would argue that currently our tax code subsidizes housing, but not necessarily the kinds of needs facing us in this affordable housing crisis. And so this is a step in the right direction, an innovative step, and one that I think on a bipartisan basis we can and should take to address our affordable housing crisis. With that, Madam Chair, I would turn it over to my testifiers.
Thank you. We have three testifiers. The first one is Ann Mavity from the Minnesota Housing Partnership. Welcome to the committee. Please identify yourself for the record.
Thank you so much. My name is Ann Mavity. I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota Housing Partnership that works to inform the discussions around affordable housing through research and helps advance policies and investments to make that happen. Thank you so much for having us today, Madam Chair, and the committee. I am testifying today in support of House File 1971, the Minnesota Affordable Housing Tax Credit. I'll just note a couple key things and then I'm available for questions. One is, as Representative Howard noted, MHP has just documented through our State of the State's Housing Report for 2021 that we need more housing of every kind in every corner of Minnesota. And that is particularly a challenge when we're talking about extremely low-income families. We currently have a gap of more than 105,000 homes for our extremely low-income families. That's what we need to build against just to keep up with this year-over-year population growth. And as you all are very familiar with, the state has a goal of creating 300,000 new units of housing by 2021 just to keep up with this population growth. And so this becomes a key tool to work toward that goal. So why an affordable housing tax credit? One, when you look at a lot of other sectors, like transportation, there are 7 dedicated sources of revenue that help fund transportation. More is needed, but there are already dedicated revenue sources. Right now, housing doesn't have any. And so this becomes a really critical tool in this dedicated and predictable housing stream. Affordable housing development needs predictability because investments in site acquisition and other kinds of costs happen long before funding applications are submitted, or certainly before projects actually open for families. And so the pipeline and capacity of the industry depends on predictable funding, which this would provide. The other thing I would say is that this is different than an appropriation. We are really trying to incent behavior. As Representative Howard said, trying to engage more folks in this affordable housing conversation. So whether it's the business community that's working together in Perham that wants to together help provide support for affordable housing, or a faith group working on a housing development in Plymouth, this provides a way to extend participation in a public-private partnership that goes deep into the community. So, and as also Representative Howard noted, this works. This is a proven model in different communities. I'll draw your attention to the handout in your packet, or that's listed here, that says 2021 tax credit, and it speaks specifically to the number of units it can leverage, the number of families it can impact. But with that, I'll just end here and just say I'm open to questions as they may arise.
Thank you for your testimony. And now we have Jonathan Weinhagen from the Minneapolis Regional Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the committee. Please identify yourself for the record.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Thank you for having me today. I am Jonathan Weinhagen, President and CEO of the Minneapolis Regional Chamber. We represent nearly 2,300 members across the Minneapolis-St. Paul region. Businesses are rightfully concerned about the lack of affordable homes in Minnesota. It's one of the reasons that the Minneapolis Regional Chamber Board elevated housing and housing affordability to a top-tier issue 3 years ago. And as we've seen over the course of the last year with the pandemic, that urgency has grown across our region and across our state. A recent report from the Itasca Project, a CEO roundtable that I participate in, really began to frame the topic of housing affordability. And I'm going to share, it opens with sentiments about the region that I share every day. In fact, it's part of all of my talking points. And it says that the Minneapolis-St. Paul region is home to over 3 million residents, 16 Fortune 500 businesses, world-class colleges and universities, renowned park systems, and a vibrant art and music scene. And that over the past decade, the region has enjoyed steady population and economic growth, and its unemployment rate has consistently been lower than the national average. It follows that up by saying, the relative affordability of housing has been an important driver of these outcomes, but that driver is now at risk. Even before the current pandemic and related economic crises, recent decreases in housing affordability threatened the success of the region. I want to pause there. Not could threaten, not might threaten, not possibly in the future will threaten the success of the region. And that's what we're here to talk about today, and it's why the Minneapolis Regional Chamber supports the Affordable Housing Tax Credit as a mechanism that promotes public-private partnership, using public resources to leverage private investments and private participation is an approach that we believe is smart, it's good government, it's good for business, it's good for our community, and it's good for Minnesota. HF1971 creates the exact infrastructure that we need, the tax credit, to build these relationships between the public and private sectors around housing, something that we don't have today, but something that Representative Howard framed has been successful elsewhere. We've seen in North Dakota a $5 return on investment for every dollar invested. I'm a business guy, and the stakeholders that I represent certainly are looking at return on investment. That is a no-brainer with regards to thinking about the future of the housing ecosystem. We know that without adequate housing, businesses can't grow. And in fact, as we leverage towards an economic recovery, we could actually lose ground in our state and our region against our competitive peer set. We know that workers need housing, specifically housing that is affordable to their income. So we're talking about housing affordability across all spectrums of the continuum. It's needed to recruit and retain our workforce. candidly, it is needed for our economic success moving into the future. I would also be remiss if I didn't note that housing is a critical race equity issue for Minnesotans and for Minnesota businesses. We know that we need to support Black, Indigenous, people of color, and immigrants and their workers. Our lack of housing investment, particularly affordable housing, has a race-based history and a current race-based disparities and discrimination. And again, I will point to those disparities being exacerbated in the last 12 months during this pandemic and this economic crisis. So I couldn't urge you more to consider moving forward HF1971 with the full support of the Minneapolis Regional Chamber, our stakeholders in the business community. We think it's a smart and pragmatic approach to addressing this critical piece of our economic ecosystem that is housing. So with that, I will also be available to stand for questions, but really appreciate the opportunity to share this with you today.
Thank you for your testimony. And now we are joined by Miranda Walker from the Greater Minnesota Housing Fund. Welcome to the committee. Please identify yourself for the record.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Miranda Walker, and I've worked in affordable housing for over 10 years now, both as a developer of affordable multifamily housing and currently as senior loan officer at Greater Minnesota Housing Fund. And I'm testifying in support of House File 1971, creating the Minnesota Affordable Housing Tax Credit. Tax credits are a much needed source of equity in deals that would otherwise not be completed, not be built if without this equity source. Right now, doing this work, doing affordable housing development, lending to affordable housing developers requires a dedicated source of revenue for this housing. Right now, the market does not provide enough housing. Additional equity is needed to inject into these projects that serve community needs. We have an increasingly stratified economy that has created a decent supply of housing for folks that are high income households, folks able to pay high rents, a shrinking supply of housing for folks in the middle, and a dearth of housing for low-income households where wages are not keeping up with rent demands. Many low-wage workers can't access safe, decent, affordable housing, and this need constrains business growth as businesses are unable to hire folks because folks can't find housing. In addition, the increased cost of providing housing, both the labor and the materials that we hear so much about, means that even the impact of existing housing credits is shrinking. So to ensure that projects work well for local communities, developers, lenders, folks who are in this space need a flexible and simple financial tool that will allow them to develop affordable housing, and specifically affordable housing that meets local needs. This tax credit, the addition of this tax credit, can be used to support home ownership, certainly multifamily, the space that I operate in, for new projects, for existing projects, for rehab, to create deeper affordability in projects. For example, folks at 60% AMI making rents than affordable at people who earn 50% of area median income. These tax credits also allow for diversification of product type. It allows developers to be responsive to specific community needs. For example, as a developer, I've worked on projects that have required both design and programmatic flexibility to meet community needs, to provide an aesthetic that fits within an existing community's fabric, to provide specific space for veterans, specific social space to serve folks, kids who are aging out of foster care. Much of my work right now with Greater Minnesota Housing Fund is with rural developers, and there's a very specific need right now in Greater Minnesota for an affordable tax credit. Where small projects, because these areas can't support large 150 plus unit housing, where the federal tax credit, federal LIHTC, really just isn't a strong enough or large enough tool. And in addition, to echo some of the comments made earlier, this tax credit really is needed to provide investment communities that have experienced historic disinvestment, and specifically in communities of color, where there has been a real lack of both public and private investment. So thank you for your time and your attention. My colleagues at Greater Minnesota Housing Fund strongly support This tax credit for Minnesota, we've analyzed the potential impact of this credit. Funded at $25 million, this tax credit would help provide 1,700 homes, create between 325 and 700 new homes, and create deeper affordability for 1,000 homes. So I encourage your support on this bill. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Members, we will go to member questions now. If there are members for the questions of the author or the testifiers. Mr. Worth, do we have questions?
Madam Chair, Representative Ryer has a question.
Representative Ryer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question is for Mr. Weinhagen. First of all, I just want to say that personally, I'm fully committed to building across the spectrum, especially focusing on the need for affordable housing and the desperate shortage that we have in the state. And I'm actively pushing on that in a number of ways, including through bonding, but love that we're talking about having a portfolio of tools and different ways to accomplish this. I think it's a really creative and sensible approach. My question is, I do encounter both constituents and colleagues who are skeptical about the return on investment. So when you said return on investment is a no-brainer, my ears pricked right up and I thought, well, do you have data? Do you have evidence on any aspects? And I would extend this also to the other testifiers. For me, one of the most useful things I can have is more ways to tell the story. Data for people who are data people, stories for people who are story people, but it's easier to find stories than really solid, strong, hard data. Thank you.
I think that question was for Mr. Weinhagen.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Representative Ryer. It's a great question. What I will point to is the beauty of this tax credit is, as much as we like to innovate here in the state of Minnesota, it's not a new idea. It has been operationalized and implemented in other marketplaces. So North Dakota is the one that we point to as kind of a gold standard. And that's where we have that data where they are leveraging $5 in private investment for every dollar in public investment. So when we talk about that return on investment, it's not a projection. It's not something that we think might possibly happen if we deploy it here. It's something we've seen happen in a neighboring state. And I think you can confidently go forward and share that with constituents and those who share what is probably a healthy skepticism, but one that I'm really confident with regards to this legislation is going to yield every bit as much return on investment as we've seen in our neighbor in North Dakota.
Follow-up, Representative Ryer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just ask that if we could get help from staff to find access to that information, or if Mr. Weinhagen would have any information for background, that would be great. Thanks.
Okay, we'll follow up on that request. Mr. Worth, other questions?
Madam Chair, Representative Jurgens has a question.
Representative Jurgens.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Howard, I just want to make sure I understand how this would work. So if, let's say I owe the state of Minnesota $100 at the end of the tax year, and I can donate $100 to where would I donate? Minnesota Housing Finance Agency, and get a $90 credit for that. So in the end, instead of owing the state $100, I owe the state $10, and MHFA gets my $90. Is that, did I boil it down correctly?
Representative Howard.
Madam Chair, I believe so. I think you've got it. I would turn it over to Ms. Mavity if she had to clarify, but I think that's correct.
Yeah. Ms. Mavity, did that sound right?
That is how we understand it as well. Thank you.
All right, just need clarification. I'm not the brightest bulb, so I just want to make sure I understood it.
Good to clarify. Other questions, Mr. Worth?
Yes, Madam Chair. Representative Tice has a question.
Representative Tice.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a couple of questions just about getting the program going. I'm seeing that it'll start at the end of the year. Both the fund, both the everything. Is that enough time?
Representative Howard, do you have an answer to that, or go to one of the testifiers?
Madam Chair, I would just mention, of course, sometimes we pass a bill and its enactment is right after when we pass it. Sometimes it sets to July. And so, having some runway here makes sense, but I don't have for you information about how quickly things got moving in North Dakota or some of the other states. Perhaps one of my testifiers could comment on sort of the setup.
Any of the testifiers or our research staff?
Miss Mavity's got her hand up.
Madam
Ms.
Chair.
Mather?
Madam Chair, Representative Tice, what I would say is that this idea has been in formulation for several years, and we have had fairly in-depth conversations with staff at Minnesota Housing and others to really explore what that implementation looks like. Certainly, setting it up is important and making sure it functions well, but it's not an overly complicated setup. It's designed to be fairly straightforward. So those conversations have begun a year or two ago with Minnesota Housing. Obviously, there's a lot on their plate, and we would need to continue to do that. But we think that this could be deployed relatively quickly.
Representative Tice.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And how long has North Dakota been doing this?
Ms. Mavity, do you have an answer to that?
I am so sorry. I will get the exact date, but I believe it's been about 5-6 years. 2011. No, it's been 10 years. Excuse me. 2011.
Okay. Oh, that's right. We talked.
Representative Tice.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's right. You kind of mentioned 2011 before, and right away I'm thinking, well, that was the recession time, great time to do it. And I know they were having some things go on there as well. But I really think it's a good idea, and I love out of the box ideas, and I think it is. I'm still not sure I'm 100% on how the process works. So, well, and how are we going to get the word out, I guess, is my biggest thing. How do we get the word out to people that they can do this?
I'm looking for a hand. Who might be open to that question? Representative Howard.
Madam Chair, Representative Tice, that's a good question. I think we can work with Minnesota Housing. And then again, as sort of Mr. Weinhagen mentioned, we can lean on some other states. I think this is an area where we can find out what has worked well in other places to sort of get the word out and maximize the investment. But what I would say is just based on what's happening in the marketplace around housing, I don't know if getting the word out is going to be the challenge. The need is so great that my anticipation, like so much in our housing, once something like this is out there, the challenge might be on the other side, more people wanting to utilize it than dollars made available.
Representative Tice.
Madam Chair, and I think that's what I'm thinking of. If I want to donate, how do we get that word out that it's even available to folks to do this, to get that fund to grow? And maybe it's just, we just need to advocate for it and put it out there. But I'm really kind of excited, and are we going to find out what the fiscal note is after it goes to taxes? Do we see it again?
Representative Howard.
Madam Chair, this bill has a cost of $25 million per year of the credit. That's what we have prescribed now. It will go to taxes, and so at least in its current form, that's the amount of dollars we're allocating for it. This bill is also traveling in the Senate. The Senate Tax Chair, Senator Nelson, is the chief author of this bill. I believe it's funded at $25 million in the Senate as well.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. That helps a lot. And thank you for bringing this forward.
Mr. Worth, I don't see any other, you have any other questions?
Madam Chair, no other questions.
Okay. Representative Howard, final comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll echo what Representative Tice said. I'm excited about this. This is the kind of innovation we need to see in housing if we're going to meet the moment that's presented to us. And I would encourage bipartisan support as we move forward. Thank you, Madam Chair. And with that, I will renew my motion that 1971 be recommended to pass and be referred to the Committee on Taxes.
Mr. Wilcox, please take the roll.
Hausman?
Aye.
Howard?
Aye.
Tice?
Aye.
McBadgett?
Aye.
Bliss? Excused. Gomez,
Aye.
Hassan,
Aye.
Heinrich,
No.
Her,
Aye.
Jurgens,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Farr,
Aye.
and Ryer.
Aye.
Madam Chair, that is 11 ayes and 1 nay.
There being 11 ayes and 1 nay, the motion prevails and the bill is passed.